What do you think about Yogi Bear?
I'd win.
No, not if you could beat him up. Like, what do you think about him? Just like as a concept.
Oh, oh. He's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey, is this Lyle?
this is. What is your name?
I'm Coco.
Coco. What's up, Coco? How's
Yeah.
life going? We're recording the show right now. Is that cool? Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I saw. I was hoping I'd be able to get on, actually.
Well, Coco, what's going on? How's life?
Well, long-time listener, first-time caller. Been waiting
Rock
to
and
say
roll.
that for a hot minute.
Rock and roll, rock and roll.
I often joke that I'm your oldest listener because I'm almost 40, but I did hear somebody the other day who I think was 39, so that made me feel a bit better.
I think it's general. I mean, it's a lot of I think like 18 to 25-year-olds, but there's people all over the bend. I mean, shit, I totally talked to some lady who was like 50 something and some lady who was like 60 something. So I would not say you're the oldest in the bunch.
Okay, makes me feel better. Makes me feel better. Well, I've gotten the pleasure of seeing you live a few times,
Where
and
at?
definitely, I've seen you in Dallas twice, and I saw you in Orlando.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Two very not connected at all cities.
Yeah, no, not at all. I had a little condo in Florida, about an hour away from Orlando. So I was always kind of looking and hoping and praying that, you would somehow make an appearance there so I had an excuse to drive out there. So,
Well, yeah, I'm glad you came. Yeah, I was just thinking about those shows. Not like those particular shows, but I guess that tour. And yeah, it was. I mean, it was a good time. I feel very honored to have gotten to do any of that. But enough about me, Coco. You said that you are been wanting to call into the show for a while, and if I wanted to give you the chance, if is there anything particular you wanted to call into the show to talk about? If not, it's cool. We can just shoot the shit.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So a lot of life changes have happened for me since I saw you last, Lyle. So I am currently going through a divorce after 13 years of being married. So for a hot minute. So I feel like I have some wisdom maybe to offer in that department, maybe for some people. So, yeah. And actually at one of your shows, at one point you had asked, is there anybody in here that's been married for 10 years or longer? And my husband and I at the time were the only ones that raised our hands. So, I'm here to deliver some precautionary tales maybe to some people who want to listen.
Sure. What do you have to precaution us about?
Well, Lyle, I feel like people are always kind of, right, telling you what you need to do, how you need to approach going into this, how cautious you need to be, all of the questions that you need to ask, all of the time that you should wait. But I'm an example of how you can do all of those things and it's still not work out.
So, I mean, I guess in short, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons, and I don't know, what you want to talk about and what you don't want to talk about, but why did it not work out after 13 years?
At this point, so I kind of walked around for a long time carrying a lot of shame over exactly why, or not really wanting to tell people what exactly happened. But I kind of told like one person. And so now it's just easy for me to trauma dump for, with anybody who wants to hear. So, I married a cocaine addict. So I've been dealing with that for the last 4 years, hoping and praying that maybe he would either, come to his senses. Maybe he would finally listen to me. Maybe someday he would just wake up and just, see, hey, this is like not a way to live. We have a child together. Very successful in his career, making six figures pretty much mostly throughout the entirety of our marriage, which is awesome, which is great for him. Was great for our family and all of that. But you can't make somebody else want that for themselves. And I mean, I've been listening for such a long time. There are so many people who call in and struggle with this, either with, personally or with a partner like I have. And yeah, I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think being married for 13 years, having, close to a decade of really fantastic memories and awesome experiences. I mean, part of the reason we had the, condo in Florida is because he had been very successful in his career. And then the last 4 years of our marriage, I mean, it went downhill quick. It went downhill quick.
I assume he was not addicted to cocaine when you met him.
No, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. He was a frat boy, so there were some red flags there, Lyle, for sure.
So
for sure.
How did things begin to go down?
So I've spent a lot of time pinpointing maybe when it happened. When did it start? I didn't use with him or anything like that. And I'm not really sure when the first time was. Again, this is a frat kid from the suburbs. So, I mean, could have been at any point in time, right? But, I don't want to say it's a common trope, but, there are definitely a group of people who, started going to doctors for legitimate pain care management and kind of got in that loop of being on pain medication legitimately, but still in that horrible loop. So I'm pretty sure it was, after he left that world behind that he just kind of dove into the deep end of coke, honestly.
And is that what you would say is the main issue that led to the divorce, or was there kind of anything else peripheral to that?
I think that was a huge contributing factor to it. I mean, I know that, drug addiction, doesn't just stand alone. It's definitely, there's lots of other things at play that allow that to live and thrive. Definitely he had some challenges throughout his life. He had a brother that died when they were kids, and that had a major impact on their family. My in-laws are very, very conservative, very waspy, very let's brush things under the rug and let's pretend they didn't happen. So he definitely did not get the mental health care and support that he really needed early on in life. And so I definitely think that was a major contributing factor to, right? Just, it set him right up for something like that.
Mm-hmm. And how recently did this happen that you guys got divorced?
So we separated in September. I told his parents. It got to a point. One day I went into his office here at our house. I don't know why. Something said, just go look in this briefcase. Go look in this pocket. So I went in his office, put my hand in the first pocket, pulled out a handful of about 70 to 80 empty baggies of Coke. Yeah, it was a lot. It wasn't like I found one and I was like, damn you, I can't believe you did this. I mean, this was like one instance in a long line of things. But in terms of the divorce popping off, that's really what set things off. So I found those and I just kind of freaked out, and I had caught him in other ways before, never at that level, but it was at that time when I thought to myself, okay, holy shit, like this is beyond me. I can't handle this alone. There's just no way. There's no me talking to him this time. There's no me threatening him this time that in any way, shape, or form is going to be appropriate for handling something this big. So that was in May of last year. And so I called his parents, which again, there are people who don't really think that there's any problems, and if there are, we're gonna cover them on up. So I called his mom in tears, saying, "Look, there's this problem, and there's this big problem, and it's out of my control. I can't handle it anymore. I quite frankly, I don't know what to do. I'm embarrassed. I'm mortified that I'm coming to you, telling you about your son and this problem." But there was definitely a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, because she immediately said to me, like, "This makes so much sense. With everything we've seen, with him sleeping till 10, 11, noon." And, again, we have a child together.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
we're trying to maintain a life, a family, and all this other, all the other stuff that goes along with that. So that was in May of last year. And I mean, basically it was us staging interventions time and time again for him just to say no, or say, "I'll go and see a therapist," not "I'll go to treatment," not I'll go and do inpatient or outpatient. He would never agree to anything like that. He would only ever settle for going to see a therapist once a week, who told me at one point, and she lost all credibility to me when she said that, "Well, I think weed is just as bad as coke." So, and I was like, I really am not trusting any of the choices he's making right now. Mm-hmm. But I definitely wasn't confident in him wanting or maintaining sobriety on his own. I was pretty clear. But so that it was just me and his parents time and time again. I spent time with his parents, coming up with lists of different rehabs and pros and cons, and just kind of a game plan for our family and our life and our finances. Because between that time and basically the time that we split up, I mean, any money that we had just gone. He took out a $100,000 loan from his parents, which I didn't know about, which again, big privilege. Totally understand that. That's a huge deal. I mean, my family could never do that for me, and shouldn't. No, I mean, really, they were just enabling him at the end of the day. I mean, clearly. But I mean, by this time, I mean, he had not only just put our family in danger, but we were just, close to financial ruin at that point. And it was an everyday thing I was learning. We're basically through the divorce process right now. We're waiting for the divorce decree to be signed off on. But September 4th of this year will mark a year since I gave him the ultimatum. Actually, all of us did. Either leave or go get help. And he refused to go get help. So he ended up, we have the condo in Florida. So he ended up taking off to go live there. And he was there for about 3 months. Don't really know what he was doing. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, shit, if coke's, not hard to get in Texas, it's sure as hell not hard to get in Florida. Mm-hmm. So he spent 3 months out there doing God knows what, while I stayed here with our kid and did everything and paid for everything, and all of the soccer mom things and football mom things and the lunches, and me navigating a new career and all of that, while he just took off and did God knows what.
Mm. Mm-hmm. How old is your kid?
He's 13.
13? Oh, okay. So this is not like a little kid who doesn't know what's going on. This is like
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Mm-hmm. So dude, I mean, like, so he just goes off for 3 months and he has no contact with your son?
He had minimal contact with him, but definitely nothing meaningful. And just ceased to be, a fixture in his everyday life, like he had known, right, for all of his 13 years. And our son this is our only child, and he's incredibly bright. I've just, I only have one, so I've sunk everything into him, for better or for worse. And I mean, in some ways, he handled it more maturely than I did, which was just incredible. But at one point before his dad took off, I took him on a walk, and I said, "Hey, like, it was definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done, if not the hardest thing I've ever had to do." And I had to tell him, "Hey, like, you're noticing. I don't know. You notice your dad is sleeping till this time, and you notice that he's irritable, and you're noticing this, and there's a reason, and that's, honey, because that's because your dad is on drugs." And totally mortifying, just all of the things, even though, of course, I know now, and I knew then, that it's not my fault. There's nothing that I'm doing wrong. But, just having to admit that to your kid. And of course, I mean, his natural first question was, well, what is it? And I just didn't want to tell him. And I didn't necessarily think that was completely relevant, that he needed to know. I know that, if I were in his situation, I would be, of course, just, completely curious about everything. But I just, I think at that time, I just thought he needs to know the facts. And I don't, need to tell him that his dad's a raging cokehead. This is not the time yet. This is not the time yet. So he knew that things were going on. And he knew things between his dad and I were not in a good place, because, we were fighting, we were arguing. I would love to say that we were a couple where we never fought in front of our child. No, that's just absolutely not true. It got so bad that we would bleed, into just anything that we were doing, because it was just this dark cloud that hung over us for just so long. And so he didn't know for a while what his dad had been doing, but his dad took it upon himself to tell our son that his dad was dealing with a cocaine problem.
So you told your son before your husband decided he wanted to tell him.
Right. Right.
And then what was the distance between that? Like, was there a period of time where, like, you wanted him to just tell your son directly and he wouldn't, or like how did that kind of play out?
I never, to me, I guess it wasn't so much about what it was. I didn't feel like that was like super relevant. I didn't think he needed to know that his dad had a coke problem versus pain pill problem versus whatever kind of problem. I just felt like it wasn't super relevant.
No, I guess I don't mean I don't mean like what it was, but I guess like telling your son that he had some kind of drug problem.
Oh. So I mean that was that I spearheaded that, if that's kind of what you're asking. He had. Yeah, I mean, my ex-husband had no idea that I was going to tell him. And to be honest, I'm not even quite sure if he knew when I did, because at the time he was still living here. We were still holding out hope, or we were still, somehow thinking that, the next intervention, he's gonna do it this time. And, this is somebody, again, who has all of these resources at his disposal. These people deal with this stuff all the time, and they don't have means to go to rehab. They don't have means to go take off to a, fucking Florida condo or whatever bullshit, So, I guess just in my heart of hearts was just hoping, eventually he was going to say yes. My only goal, I think, with telling our son was just somehow, giving him some idea that, like, what you're seeing, isn't normal, and it's a result of something like this. It's a result of drugs. And again, our son is very mature, and other than him saying, like, what is it, his next response, which just still always blows me away, is him saying, like, well, he must be really struggling a lot if he feels like he has to do that. I was
Wow.
just like, whoa, like, holy shit. I'm like, but he gets it. And so I definitely feel like telling him was the right thing to do. But I also had a feeling like, some shit's about to go down, and I don't want to completely just blindside our child and make him, I don't want to give him this false sense that things are great, and he's hearing us arguing, and he's seeing his dad sleep and not work and all this stuff. I mean, I think the writing was on the wall for sure, but I definitely think that it was the right thing to do to give him a heads up and in hopes of giving him some clarity, right? So he knew about it, and again, this is like from a period of like from May to September of last year. So I finally tell him, after finding those 70, 80 bags of Coke or whatever, and going back and forth with his parents, just begging him to go get help, and still seeing all the signs. Nothing has changed, like I knew it was bad when the only time that we could get along was when he was high. I mean, the only time I would ever want to approach him about anything or ask him to do something was when he was high, because that was the only time that, he was kind, that he was agreeable, that he would listen, so it was this really, sick cycle, of, but then also just noticing he's just going further and further off the deep end. It's getting worse and worse. And so one day he would always fall asleep. Obviously he would sleep till like 11, 12, all that kind of stuff, which again, no judgment that, we got a kid and a house and all that kind of crap, and he fell asleep with his phone open. And I'm not a woman that's going to go through somebody's phone. We don't have each other's passwords. I don't think that's any way to live. But I knew the app that he had been messaging with his dealer on. And just being a dumbass, leaves it on his home screen, doesn't leave it password protected, which for some reason, I don't know why that bugged me. I guess it was just because it was like so flippant. It was just all like, I don't care. I'm not even going to try to shield you from any of this.
Yeah. I could see why that would piss you off.
Like, come on, man. Like, just try to hide something. So for some reason, my friends laugh about that, but that was for some reason, that was just a really sore spot for me. Mm-hmm. But I finally get in there, and I see the messages to and from his dealer, and it's every single day. Mm-hmm. It's every day. Mm-hmm. It's every night, like I'm going to go to a convenience store, grab, a pack of cigarettes, or I'm going to run to the store or whatever. It was because he was meeting his dealer, and it had ramped up, but it went even further than that. I found out that he was having drugs dropped off when we were at home. And the guy would roll through the alley, put it in the trash can, put it in the mailbox, hide it wherever. And I mean, this is again when me and our 12-year-old son are, at home, like doing homework, just picked him up from school, or, whatever, normal type of thing we're trying to do. And, we've got some drug dealer rolling by the house and dropping off drugs while we're there. Mm-hmm. So of course that was super concerning. But then I think also the straw that broke the camel's back for me, because I didn't just find that. I found out that he had been arranging to have prostitutes to our home. So, I mean, just completely in total violation of this, sacred space that I thought that we had, despite, this glaring issue. And that was it for me. I thought, well, I can't be married to somebody who I'm just never going to let touch me again, because that's just never going to happen. And that's it. Like, this has to be it, and that was again, when I went to his parents, I said that, and I did, to this day, as far as I know, they don't know either of those things. I didn't think it was relevant, didn't even want to go down that road, was embarrassed enough that I had to come out and tell them that their child was a coke addict. was not going to be the one that's like, oh, hey, and guess what? You know, he likes hookers too. You know, like it was just something that I thought, you know, like this is it. I needed a, you know, the final nail in the coffin, I guess. And that's kind of what this is. So I called them up and I just said that was it. And I can't do this anymore. And your kid's got to go get help or I'm leaving. I said, straight up, I'm going to leave. I'm going to pack up the car. I'm going to pack up our dog, uproot our kid's life, and we're going to go to the condo in Florida. So that was my goal. I obviously had not thought things through very well, but I wasn't thinking clearly through a lot of this stuff. I was just kind of, you know, like it was like triage. You know, I just was trying to clean up whatever disaster or mess that I could in the best way that I could with you know, there's no guide out there, at least that I'm aware of. And I just said that's it. And, you know, they told me, hey, you know, why the hell do you need to leave? You know, like your son's in school, you know, you have, you know, a life here, you know, why the hell are you the one leaving? You know, he needs to leave. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, okay, well, let's do that. So we gave him one final kind of push and he just refused to go get help and decided he was just going to go take off to Florida. I mean, he had a place. You know, it was all set up, you know, and so he took the out. He took the out.
Mm. And so he just goes down to Florida for 3 months. And then what happens when he comes back?
It was a total shit show. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Here I am. So I decided to go into teaching. I'm an art teacher. For that first year, though, I was just kind of all over the place, teaching different, you know, grades and different subjects and just really trying to figure out, like, what the hell I wanted to do with my life because I knew that this wasn't going to work. So I filed for divorce, and he filed stuff with his attorney saying, I want to take our son to Florida. I'm going to move him to Florida. He's going to live here full time. Going to go to school here. We have no family there. My parents had a little beach house there for a little bit, which is why I got the condo. They sold it. We have no family there. There's no reason for us to be there. And I mean, that's not that like the schools are great in Texas, but they're definitely not good in Florida. Mm. And so his goal was to just take our kid and kind of just go and live the life he wanted to live with, again, of course, not having gotten any help, not went, you know, suck any treatment or anything like that. So I file in October and he goes back and forth with his attorney and mine, trying to get all of this crap that he wants, thinking somehow that he is going to be able to take our son to Florida. And I guess somebody somewhere, you know, knocked some sense into him and said, like, hey, dude, like, you know that, like, you're not going to be able to have, like, take y'all's kid and move him to Florida. You know, like, you had a drug problem. And outside of that, they don't do that. They don't let one parent, you know, take their child across the country and just keep them there, you know. And, you know, he thought, well, our son's old enough, you know, he's allowed to choose where he wants to be. And unfortunately, and it was really heartbreaking, but my son really wanted to be with his dad. He wanted to go live in Florida, which I also can't blame him. I mean, it's, you know, it's like you're on vacation. All he knows is being there and being on vacation, right? He doesn't know what it's like to live there. So it was heartbreaking to be the parent doing everything day in, day out, and, you know, having a child who, you know, wants to go live with his dad, you know, arguing with me and saying, if you knew it was in my best interest, which, you know, was interesting that, you know, he phrased it that way. But, you know, if you really knew it was in my best interest, then you would let me go live with dad. And so that was also just totally heartbreaking to have to go through too, is, you know, feeling like the bad guy. You know, I'm sure my son is thinking that I'm trying to keep him from his dad. obviously that's not the case, but hell yeah, I'm absolutely not going to let him go live in Florida with his dad full time by himself
of
I have
course.
no idea what's going on at all.
Yeah, of course.
So that was a major uphill battle. But the probably the hardest part for me throughout all of this is I had my in-laws to really, to lean on. I was very open and honest about once things went down and what I found and what their son was doing. We became very close. And, they were a great support system for me. My parents didn't live here. I don't really have any family in Texas. So, having their support, especially during that time, was just incredibly helpful. But somehow, some way, I don't know what the moment was or what what was said, but they just completely turned on me and went to supporting their son wholeheartedly, telling me he doesn't have a problem. He's fine now. My mother-in-law called me and she's like, you don't understand. He's fine now. He's fine. And I had to be like, look, listen. I want that. I hope that. I pray for that. I hope that he never does it again. In my heart of hearts, that the day he left was the last day. But like, let's be pragmatic here. Let's kind of like look at the facts and kind of like look at statistics, lady, and like, figure out some things here. Like, yeah, it's highly unlikely that he's clean and sober. And regardless of that, like, why the hell do you think it would be okay for him to uproot our child's life, take him out of mine, and go move him to fucking Florida? Mm-hmm. And they really never had any response to that. They completely stopped talking to me. Have nothing to do with me. He told him that I had at several points, quote, manic episodes, which just makes me laugh because I'm like, anytime I tell people that, they're like, well, yeah, I would have after all the shit that you dealt with. Mm-hmm. But also I'm like, dude, are you really, you go to a fucking therapist who thinks weed is just as bad as coke. Like, are you really qualified to make that assessment right now? Like what a manic episode is, dude. Do you really know? So I don't really know exactly the narrative that he spun to his parents to make them just like completely hate me over like a matter of like a few weeks. But so they rallied behind him, and obviously he comes from generational wealth, clearly, and his dad's an attorney. So they just sunk all of their resources and their time and their effort into, his legal case against me, and doing whatever they could to make him seem like, this superstar dad, and he was gone like in Florida for those whole 3 months and just had basically nothing to do with him. I mean, he didn't send a dime, and here I was, somebody who we had a company together, and right as his addiction just progressed, I backed myself away from that and realized, now I need to get like a job on my own.
You guys had a business together.
Mm-hmm. We had a few businesses together.
Oh, really? Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
So, and was that your guys' full-time thing together, or did you each have your own kind of independent jobs?
Yeah, no, that was our thing together. That was our thing together. Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ, that's a whole other entirely crazy element to this. I mean, how were the businesses doing while he was kind of strung out?
Oh, terrible. I mean, he ran them all into the ground. I mean, we had one that was incredibly successful. And I mean, obviously I'm not trying to dox myself, but I mean, it was quite successful. I mean, it had garnered like, attention in like national media and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was incredibly successful. And also furthermore, it was a product that a lot of people relied on. and it really actually like helped them be able to manage their lives better. And and so I could obviously sense that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing in his job. That was clear. Obviously, I worked with him. I could just tell from the fact that, I mean, you know, he would just be at home all day and literally wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't do any work. He would hardly move from his chair. So I mean, it was bad. But when I started noticing that with the companies and stuff, that's when I was like, okay, that probably he's going to sink this ship on his own. There's only so much I can do to help. So maybe I need to like focus my efforts somewhere else to, you know, come on to solid footing on my own without any ties to him, basically.
So you weren't even like, okay, let me try to kind of salvage my own, kind of make my own fight for this business that I'm a part of. You were like, you know what? I don't even want to put up that fight. I just want to get out of here.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, I had always worried that if we ever had gotten a divorce, our lives were so intertwined that it was going to be just so freaking difficult to untangle, and just even from a professional standpoint. So I kind of, at that point, I also felt like, you know, I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that, like, where he was going, what he was doing. He had no motivation whatsoever to do better, to be better, to, you know, focus on these businesses, pull them up, whatever, or even just sustain where they were. So I thought, you know, really, honestly, any time I spend with him is not going to be productive. So, like, let's move on. Let's figure out what I want to do so I can be stable, and I don't need to have anything that's tied to him. You know, I need to be self-sufficient. So I really had just no freaking idea what I was going to do. I went to college, had my degree. I have a paralegal certificate. I thought, okay, I'll go work at a law firm. Tried that. Have lots of friends that are attorneys. None of them, not one could find me a job. Not a one. And I've always done art on the side. So that's when I thought, okay, well, let me thinking about going into teaching.
Were you able to keep any savings from the divorce so that you weren't at least, like, you know, against the wall?
Yes, it was not a lot. It was not a lot. There were some, and I really tried not to ever touch any of the emergency funds that I had squirreled away over that time. That was kind of my goal, even though I was definitely in an emergency type situation. I just, in my head, I'm always wondering, like, I don't know, there could be something down the line that's way worse than that, or it's even worse than that. So, I ended up substitute teaching for, and I don't know if people really know how little substitute teachers make. But it's anywhere between $110, $120, or $30 a day. So, I mean, just so small. And I thought to myself, okay, well, you know, I can't get a job at a law firm. No one wants to hire me. I love kids. I love teaching. So, you know, I'm going to just suffer through it, you know, my $110, $120 a day, and, you know, just see if I can get by. You know, and there were some definitely lean times. And I think about it now. I think about, you know, the amount that was in my bank account, and just, holy shit, I don't know how I did that. And you know, it's just, even looking back on it, I'm like, I can't believe that was my life. But, so yeah, I put my focus on, you know, finding something for me and, you know, making, you know, my own money. And you hear about this too from women that have been, you know, married for a long time, or that have been divorced after being stay-at-home moms for, you know, decades. You know, they say, don't give up your own career, and always have your own money. And, And it's solid advice. It's very smart advice. I thought I was in that camp though, as somebody who had been working, and I wasn't just sitting at home eating bonbons, and I was obviously an active parent, but I was an active financial participant in our life.
So how are you doing now? This has been, I guess it's been about a little over a year since.
Almost a year. Mm-hmm.
Almost a year. So, I mean, how are you doing now? What's going on with you today?
So I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now. I think a lot of the hard part of the divorce is behind me. Unfortunately, because, my ex does come from a family that knows what they're doing with money and knows how to protect money. I kind of got screwed in the divorce. I really didn't get very much, if anything, at all. Which is funny to me because people, you get child support and you get spousal support and you half of everything is yours. No, it's not. That is not true. If things are set up in a certain way and people know what they're doing, no, it's you don't get half. So, I was at least hoping that, I would maybe get half of our house, half of our assets. He took a lot of things, sold them, hid them. So I didn't, and I never really had a good a clear financial picture of our assets because he was really good about hiding that stuff from me. So, where I'm at now, I have to be out of our house by the end of the year. So that's probably the biggest stressor on me right now is just kind of like every moment I feel like that there's this thing hanging over my head because I know that I'm going to be moving and I've been in this house for 7 years and, this is the house that, my kid has been in since first grade and, he's in 8th grade. So he's going to be going into high school. So I had all of these, just these pictures and stuff of him coming home and, high school and graduating and all of that stuff and being here and this being the home base. So obviously that's out the window. So that's the most difficult thing to grapple with right now. Definitely the financial aspect of things, has been really difficult, but, I have a job. I'm teaching art, which was what I wanted to be teaching. I'm almost a certified teacher. I had to jump through a lot of hoops for that too. And doing all of the coursework and all of the exams for that while I'm going through all of this has been just immensely difficult. But I'm in a better place, but I'm also in a place where there's a lot of unknowns for sure. And so that's probably the scariest part for me. But I try to remind myself that hopefully, more than likely, probably the worst is behind me. And, I'm not gonna be in this beautiful house anymore. And I'm not gonna be living this idyllic life and all of that anymore. But I definitely have a lot more peace in my life. That's for sure. That's for sure.
So where is your son now? Does he live with you? Does he live with his dad? Is he kind of in between?
Well, a lot of people too, I guess, there was definitely a lot of assumptions made here. They thought, drug addict parent, clearly that parent's not going to get custody and this, that, and the other. I mean, no, it's not what happened. It's 50-50. It's 50-50. I had evidence out the wazoo of everything. I was really smart about keeping everything and timelines and photos and just everything you can imagine. I mean, it wasn't disputed. There's just no way you could dispute that he had problems, and he didn't deny it. But when it came down to it, it didn't really matter. They were like 50-50, you get him 50% of the time, you get him 50% of the time. So, I mean, I guess in a sense that was a win from where we started from, which was where he just wanted to take him, the whole time, and then just move him to Florida and just never see me again. But, I still held out some hope that, maybe somebody somewhere would see, hey, like, this dude had a raging coke problem for 4 years. Maybe he should go get help. And my only concession is I said, I'm fine with 50-50 if you go get help. I have no problem. I'm not going to fight you. We will do 50-50. I'm not going to be petty. Just go get help. Just go to treatment. That's
but
all
he didn't do it.
Nope. Mm-mm.
So
no.
how long have you guys been 50-50 for? Like a year?
Probably since the beginning of this year. So yeah, yeah.
How's that been? Like, what's the schedule? Is it like he's with you for a week, he's down in Florida for a week?
So he ended up moving back to Texas. So he's here now. But yeah, we do 1 week on and 1 week off, and that seems to be good for us.
Oh, so your ex-husband is back in Texas.
He is.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that makes life 300 times easier,
Yes.
I mean, my parents were divorced when I was growing up, and it was nice that my dad lived like a 15-20 minute drive from my mom, so like I feel like I got to see both of them. I mean, I mainly lived with my mom. That was kind of like that place was the place was home. But, both my parents were really in my life. I can't imagine what that would have been like if my dad lived in a different state or something. It'd be tough.
Yeah, which I dealt with. So when my parents divorced, same as you, they lived very, very close. Probably even less than 10 minutes away from each other. And then my dad did end up moving out of state when I turned 12. So that was a huge adjustment for me that I don't think I ever really recovered from. So yeah, I mean, right, having him close by made things immensely easier. And didn't know that he actually ended up moving here because that was hidden from me. But yeah, so he's here now, and we're about 10 minutes away from each other, which is great for our kid, and it is very convenient for us. And yeah, I mean, I think we're managing okay. I think our son has adjusted to the schedule. He doesn't sit there and say, "Oh, I want you to go let me live with my dad. Why won't you let me live with my dad?" And that's also very helpful for me. And that was really hard for me to deal with for months on end. So I think that we're in a more stable place. I mean, we're able to communicate. We're able to get along, and I mean, we're actually probably in a much better spot than I ever thought we would be, this far into things. But like, if you asked me if I still thought if he was using, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. In fact, when we had our mediation and stuff, that was one thing that he really did not want to have. He did not want us to be able to randomly drug test each other. And, my dad said, well, that there you go. I mean, that should tell you everything that you need to know. If you had any doubt about his sobriety, you shouldn't anymore if he's just completely unwilling to take any kind of drug test.
So are you planning on trying to date again at all?
Yes, I am. I've went on a few dates. The one person I really liked ended up moving away to Colorado. So there's that. But I met my husband before dating apps were a thing. So, just navigating that whole world is just totally foreign to me, having good dates and thinking that they went well, and somebody saying, "Oh, that was a great time. Let's hang out again." And then you never talk to somebody again.
It's true. It's a whole thing.
It is. Yeah. Now I'm learning. but yeah, no, it's been exciting. And, I was really miserable for 4 years. So, our marriage was done way before I filed for divorce. I mean, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't want to be miserable forever. I also just like people. I just enjoy the process of, meeting somebody new, learning about somebody, seeing things from a different point of view. I've definitely had some, moments of commiseration with other divorced people, which for better or for worse, I don't know. I don't love going on a date and then the whole date is just us talking about our divorces.
Right.
So that's been interesting for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, I want to be happy. I know I'll be happy again. I have no idea if I'll ever get married again. Because, like how we started this call is, you can do everything right and things just not work out. But yeah, I mean, I still believe in love. I'm sure that there is somebody out there somewhere. And, I am lucky in the sense that, I am still seemingly, young. So, had I waited another 10 years, this would have been a lot more difficult, So I'm definitely, it's a moment in time where there's a lot of uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty. But there was a lot of uncertainty when I was married and I was going through all of the things I was going through with him, So that's just kind of what I have to, remind myself. But, this time also too isn't, about me. Nothing is ever going to, supersede anything that needs to be done for my son or anything that he has going on. But I do think, it is important for him, to see his parent, right, happy, but also knowing that, like, your mom can have a life outside of her family. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This was, I felt like I've been listening to my own podcast for the past 50 minutes. I really appreciate you telling your story and going in depth on it, because I'm sure that there will be people who resonate with it, and it sounded like it was very, very difficult, and you're still kind of like, optimistic of being able to put together the pieces and move forward after the disillusion of something that's been kind of your, like, day-to-day life over the last 13 years. It's tough. I mean, it's emblematic of, like, life just fucking throws things at you and disruptions. And as you said, and it's a very interesting thing that you said, that you could do everything right. You could be patient. It's not like you met this guy at a gas station and you got married that night. And it's not like it was like, it was not like the writing was on the wall when you guys met, It's like you did everything right, as you said, and things still don't work out. And dude, that's just life, That's just fucking life. That's just fucking life. And I think it's something to, like, just learn, learn how to take and move on from the best that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I appreciate you sharing this story with us, Coco, right?
Yes. No, and I really appreciate the time. I've been listening to you for a long time. We've met actually, and I told you pulled me out of COVID because I was listening to you back in the day on Reddit, in my 3-hour long baths that I would take because there wasn't shit else to do. Mm-hmm. And really, I was going through this whole process, then, so you've really seen me through a dark time in my life, Lyle.
When did we met in person in Orlando or in Dallas?
We did. And with my ex, actually. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Crazy shit. It's funny. It is funny. I'm like, I don't like the idea of I'm like, oh, okay, I probably met these two people, and I took a picture with them, and they walked away, and the whole time I had no idea, like, of all was so much lore between them that would happen. It's like I only had like a little screenshot of like that moment where I'm like, oh, this is a couple and they're together, and that's amazing, that's great. But I only had and you know, whatever, you walk around life like that, you just have little screenshots of what appears to be, and you have no fucking idea about fucking anything.
Wild?
It's really wild. It's really the more I do this show and the more I just live my life in general, probably more related to just living my life in general, the more agnostic I become about just absolutely everything, about ideas I have of people, or about life, or about what I see in the world. I just become more and more agnostic as I'm truly understanding how little I can actually glean from the screenshots of everything that I see, you know, day to day and through life. It's interesting to think about, but you take it all in, and you just, I guess, keep moving forward in however positive a way you can.
Yeah, you just keep moving. Yeah, I definitely have those times where I'm just like, dear Lord, you know, like I just want to crawl into a hole and die. But no, I think I definitely think I'm you know, toxically optimistic. I don't know if that's the right term. But,
I don't think that it's toxic to be optimistic.
Okay, good.
Well, listen, Coco, is there anything else that you know, I know we talked for a while, but is there any other kind of like aspect of this, or like anything at all that you wanna cover before we go?
No, I just want to say thank you. I want to say, if anybody out there is struggling, you know, and you have a support system, and you have means to go get help, do it. Do it. There is something so much better on the other side that you can't even imagine. But you'll never know. You'll never know if you don't make that leap and you don't try and attempt to be the best version of yourself.
Coco, thank you very, very, very much for sharing this story with us and the rest of the and the listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Geck. Geck, bless you.
Bye, Coco.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That was really fascinating. That was a really interesting call. And that woman was really, really, really smart. She like, I loved the way that she told her story. I was thinking that while she was talking. I liked the way she told her story. She was had a nice grasp on the situation. And, she really took us through I appreciate, she was very generous with how in-depth she took us through all the different aspects of that story, both kind of like logistically and emotionally. So I appreciated that. And the idea that you can kind of do everything right and things will still go wrong. It's interesting, right? Because she's correct. She's correct about that with all endeavors, right? And that's something you have to, I think, come to terms with in life, whether it's a relationship or a business or a moving a play or whatever life thing is. The thing is, it's true. You could do everything right and things will still not fucking work. And I think accepting that and deciding that it's still, I guess, worth it. I don't know. I might be taking the wrong thing away from this cautionary tale, as she called it. But the idea that, yes, you might do everything correct and it still won't work out, but I guess you should just do it anyway. That's what I think. Just do it anyway. Why not? You know, what are you? I mean, because what other option do you have? It's like I was talking to someone about this recently, like stoicism. I used to be really into stoicism, and then I realized stoicism is kind of just this ultimate act of avoidance. And it's this ultimate attempt of like fully just diminishing, like let me diminish, not do anything that might hurt my feelings. That's not really what I think stoicism is, but I think there's something about like surrendering to the true helplessness that you have as a person to the events that happen to you in your life. And realizing that, yeah, you could do everything right and it still could fuck up. But we should still do things. We should still try to find love and try to make stuff and try to do things, even if they might not work. Or they might not only not work, they might fuck us up. They might kill us, or leave us homeless, or give us cancer. I don't know. But we should still do. What else are you gonna do? You do nothing. You got to do something. Fall in love, take chances, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying. Thank you, Coco, for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Hello?
Yo, hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm hanging out. I think I smell like shit, but that's fine. I haven't showered yet today because I know I was going to put on this paint. And so I was like, I'm not going to shower just to shower again. Anyway, that's, I know you found that very interesting.
I did.
What did you say your name was? I know you just said it.
Calum.
Calum. What's up, Calum? What do you want to talk about today?
I wanted to talk about how you can have any job in the world that you want.
Go ahead.
I used to work as a construction worker doing remodels in like stinky basements and stuff like that. And I really hated it. So I just started applying at state parks and it worked. And I'm currently in a state park right now, sitting by a waterfall counting how many people cross a bridge.
Do you have to do anything, or you just kind of sit by the waterfall?
Right now, I'm just sitting by the waterfall. Like, other days, I do other stuff, but, like, just sitting by the waterfall now.
That's pretty good. What do you normally do on a day like this in this job?
I do a lot of stuff. I do, like, trail maintenance. I'll, like, keep a trail nice and clean and cool. Or I do like chainsaw work where I'll go and thin trees out, stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. So you believe you can get any job that you want?
I believe that you just got to try for it. I mean, I got this job and I love it, and I'm sure that you enjoy your job from time to time.
Did you think that you wouldn't be able to get this job?
No, it was just a shot in the dark. I just kind of did it out of just boredom, pretty much, and I got it.
Mm-hmm. And you're counting people who walk by?
Yeah, last Tuesday here in the park, they installed a really big bridge with a crane across the river, and watch how many people cross it for data for the park.
Are you formally counting anything, or are you just going to go back and they're going to be like, how many people cross it? And you're going to be like, seemed like a lot.
I am counting formally.
You're counting formally.
On.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. You're counting formally?
Formally counting.
Oh, you cut out one more time. Say it again.
I'm formally counting.
So how are you? So you're talking to me while you're counting?
Someone's on the bridge right now, and I just counted them.
How are you?
Right now.
Well, you have a little clicker, right?
No, I just write a little tally on my piece of paper.
So you're talking to me right now while you tally up all the people that cross the bridge?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are there how many people cross the bridge per minute?
Not a lot. So
How
far,
many?
I've been out here for about 40 minutes. I've gotten 13 people.
Oh, okay. All right. That's not that bad. I thought this was like a. Okay. That's all right. That now sounds like it's easier to do while you talk on the phone with me.
It's very easy to do.
What job did you want when you were a child?
I wanted to own a candy factory,
Like Willy Wonka.
just like Willy Wonka.
I was talking about that with my friends last night. I think Willy Wonka would have absolutely been like a Republican.
You think so?
I think
he
so.
would have been Green Party.
I think he would have been like a Trump guy for sure. Because he's probably like he likes big business. He doesn't want the Oompa Loompas to unionize. He would probably be like an Elon Musk type character.
That's probably true. I bet if there was a tornado, he would make all of the Oompa Loompas keep working.
Did that happen in one of the movies?
No, that happened at an Amazon warehouse once.
So you're counting. What are they going to do with this like data of how many people cross this bridge?
Well, it's actually pretty dramatic. Some people at this state park really did not want this bridge at all. There's some drama behind it, but it's a pretty cool bridge. I think it helps climbers get access to a cool part of the park. But the climbers kind of wanted it to be an exclusive climber area, so now any pedestrian can just cross it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to see how much that's true. And so far, no pedestrian has gone really over there. They just kind of take pictures with the bridge and then leave.
Do you like animals?
Yes.
What kind of animals are hanging out at this park that you like?
I've seen a lot of deer and elk. I got rattled at by a rattlesnake last week.
Ooh.
For the first time.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Other than that, there's some like elusive ones that I've not seen yet, like bears and porcupines.
Are bears and porcupines known to inhabit this park?
They are. Bears come in here during the night and they knock over all the trash cans.
Is there any animal that you would be scared of? Like if you saw a bear, would that freak you out?
No, I think what would scare me is a moose.
Why a moose and not a bear?
They're scarier. They're aggressive for no reason. They just kill people out here. Like, I live in Colorado, and I think a mayor of a town I live by got killed by a moose last year or the year before. They just do it for fun.
Is this the job you want for the rest of your life? Would you be extremely happy if I told you this was what you were going to do for the rest of your life? Would that make you extremely happy?
It would make me pretty happy. I'm going to a class this winter for wilderness EMT.
Ooh.
So I want to do kind of this environment, but I quite like this job.
You cut out when you were talking just now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like this job, but I would like to do search and rescue.
Ah, okay. Oh, for like people.
Yeah.
How old are you? Can I ask?
I'm 20.
Oh, okay. You're a young man.
I'm a young man.
Okay. Oh yeah, you got tons of time to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Do you think you could, if you had to, that you could fight a bear and win?
Yes.
Are you being serious? That was a serious question.
Yeah, I'm serious.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Okay, what's your build?
Like medium.
What do you bench?
I don't bench.
You don't bench?
No.
How are you going to fight a bear if you don't have muscles?
Well, I wouldn't say I don't have muscles. I just don't bench when I'm at the gym.
What do you do?
Just like the other stuff.
Like you run on a treadmill?
Yeah, I do that, and like I usually use like dumbbells and stuff because my gym doesn't really have bars.
Okay, but do you do like a chest press with the dumbbells?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you chest press?
I guess 160.
Oh, you chest
average.
press you chest press using two 80-pound dumbbells?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good.
I think I could beat a bear.
I don't I mean, I don't know, that's a lot. Yeah. Maybe you could. 6'1's pretty good. You could beat like a small bear.
Yeah, maybe like an adolescent.
Yeah. But then if you beat up a baby bear, the mom bear is going to come and kill you.
Well, yeah.
Do people still have picnics at the park?
Yeah, it's actually been a big problem here.
Why is that a problem? Isn't that what parks are for?
Well, there is like picnic areas, but there's a fire ban right now, and people keep starting fires to cook meat.
You know who doesn't like fires?
Bears.
But there's a specific bear.
Oh, Smokey.
Smokey bear. Smokey bear.
Yes.
What do you think about Yogi Bear?
I'd win.
No, not if you could beat him up. Like, what do you think about him? Just like as a concept.
He's pretty cool. I guess I respect his desire to steal from people's picnic baskets.
Have you ever watched the Yogi Bear movie? I think it was like in 2000. Hold on, let me look this up. Yogi Bear movie. 2010. That's old, man. The Yogi Bear 3D movie was fucking 15 years old. That's crazy.
I think I do remember that. I don't remember much about it, but I think I remember it.
What's your name again?
Calum.
Calum, is there anything else that I can do for you out of this conversation, or do you feel like it was what you wanted?
It's pretty much what I wanted, but I was curious. I'm coming to New York in a bit, and I was wondering if you have a specific day you go to the park.
No, I just kind of do it. It's not a thing that I premeditate or advertise. I just kind of do it.
Oh, okay.
But I hope you enjoy
if I see you there, I'll see you.
If I see you there, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Because I know you like parks.
All right. I do like parks.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people at the computer before we go, Caleb?
Quit your job unless you like it.
Thanks for calling, Caleb.
Thank you. Bye.
See, Caleb has good optimism. And that is often actually what you need. You need an unbridled delusion. That kind of honestly goes into what I was ranting about at the end of the last call, which is that you need unbridled delusion and optimism to even have a fighting chance. So, shout out to Caleb for the inspiration he provides by simply being who he is.
Therapy Gecko's on the line, taking your phone calls every night. Therapy Gecko's doing it right, he's teaching you how to live your life, but he's not